Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I do recaps of Scientology news every morning. And I'm fortunate to be able to do interviews as well with people who are protesting Scientology, who are involved in educating people about how Scientology is a cult. And I talk about my family, my 35 years in Scientology, what it was like leaving with 3 generations of my family. Today, right now, I'm doing one of my favorite things, which is interviewing people, finding out what they're doing, what's going on, what are they seeing out there in protest land. And tonight, I'm going to talk to LARA FM and Jacob Harkey, who both have updates on DOA, Defender of Vance, who was arrested some days ago and is still being held in jail. And I know he's got a lot of people who support him and appreciate what he's been doing. So we're going to pull them here to the main stage. Welcome, LARA FM and Jacob
Hello.
Harkey.
Hello,
Woo!
everybody.
Hip hooray. Hip, 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 hip,
Hip,
hooray.
That's a big thing at Scientology graduations, isn't it? The hip hip
Mhm.
hoorays.
Graduations, major events. And that's part of why it was my Tony's idea to add it to my intro. Because I've been like
Was
on
that
this.
Tony's idea?
Yeah, it was totally Tony's idea. And my Tony's never been in Scientology. And I was working on the intro and I'm like, I can't really do music because of copyright, but what do I put? And he's like, why don't you put hip hip hooray?
Great
I
idea.
love that
I love it.
because, I mean, also remember, Hip Hip Hooray was also joking and degrading in Scientology when we'd be like, I mean, come on. It was so, because like all we would only do that for is like an executive being like, hip, hip, at the events. It would never be at a casual like staff meeting. You're like, hip, hip, unless it was an executive doing it. So when were we able to say hip hip hooray other than then? Well, we were joking a little bit and people like, that's joking and degrading. I would be telling Natalie like, oh good, we like, even if we achieve something, oh good, we achieved something, hip hip hooray. Okay, that's a little joking and degrading. Like it wasn't a thing to do unless you were literally clapping to a fucking 20 by 20 foot picture of L. Ron Hubbard and like at a speed that you couldn't stop.
And then it would just go on
hip.
and on and on and on.
And don't even I mean, it's probably why we were waiting so long for me to eventually see my dad outside the New Year's event.
Yeah.
Because they were just hip hip paraying, hip 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 hip. You know how they do that? They go back there. Oh my god. I'm getting overstimulated. Wow, I just threw ourselves into an engram right when we started.
Triggered. It's triggering. It's very triggering. Now, where do you guys want to start? Because I know you've both. So, Jacob, you were there the other day at the jail. Should we kind of start with what you experienced?
I feel like
Sure.
that's a great idea because I went to work that day and I was literally like, Jacob, please. And he is like, Jacob is so smart and dedicated. And he actually, before you begin, Jacob, he actually has a very big heart. Jacob is so sweet, so deeply motivated by like doing something big to change somebody or to like change a group or something that's, anyways. He's really sweet, such a cool sweetheart. But I think that's such a great idea because I was at work and I was freaking overwhelmed by everything because I have become very good friends with DOA. So this really upset me that I was like, what the heck? And not only that, I know OSA and Scientology tactics, and I know their deep pocket connections to specifically the LAPD, but to all the PDs across the United States, including Denver, including New York, everywhere. So like that's one of their OSA tactics is to put money into, is to PR the LAPD. It's to make them look like our public relations with you is solid. So don't screw us over when you're getting the heat from us. Anyway, so before that all starts, I think that was really great. So Jacob can go from there because then yeah, you'll see why.
Exactly. And I love this. Are you gelling? Jacob is our Clark Kent.
I love it. Thank you. And thank
Jacob,
you, Lara,
I
for
keep
that little
hearing
intro.
You're welcome, Jacob. But I keep hearing that from people. Like they're like, oh, and Jacob's so cute and he's so sweet. He's like you guess who freaking told me that today well, we'll get to it, but DOA was like, he's such a sweetheart. He's like, what's that guy, that Superman guy? And he's like, Clark Kent or something. I was laughing so hard. Oh my God.
I love it.
So there you go.
Get you
Okay.
a Superman shirt. That's a great idea.
Oh
I guess
my
that's what I need.
God.
Somebody in my chat today was like, "Where's your cape? Where's your cape and tights?"
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, nobody's gonna whack your phone out of your face, perhaps, if you know, possibly have like a cape. Hey, and you look like, anyways. Okay, wow, we're getting sidetracked.
All right, but so we wanted to start talking about what went down yesterday,
Yeah.
or
Well, I think from Friday night, we'll just,
yeah,
because
that's a
Natalie has a
good
whole
idea.
different audience from mine, from you. I just think, so that everybody's on the same page, I think we should start from Friday night. There was an illegal arrest, and there were 3 protesters. I'm sure everybody's caught up at least with that. And there's 3 protesters that got arrested when they were actually the victims or the defender of somebody being victimized.
Yeah.
And earlier you can see Danny uses pepper spray one time on the 3rd attack of these women attacking Danny's and Leah's cameras, and Danny just was like, that's it. So then hours after that, the police show up and arrest Cam.
Danny.
I always say
LA
Zach. I'm
Cam.
like, why am I saying Zach? LA Zach. No, it's LA Cam with a K, like a, yeah, anyways. LA Cam, they arrest LA Cam, and they arrest they arrest Danny, then they arrest LA Cam, and then I find out DOA is getting arrested, and I'm like, that's a joke. I'm like, no. Okay. And so from there, Jacob, I feel like, should tell the story on that end.
Yeah, so after that happened, we were out for several hours that night. I don't think I left LA until probably 2:30 a.m. We spent some time trying to get in touch with the LAPD, who were behind the desk at the Wilcox station, and eventually that was the night that they originally put down the gate, that fence over the front door, so that we weren't even able to get inside and talk to the people at the front desk.
Let's be clear about that, Jacob. That
Yeah.
gate, it's like a almost like when a business is shutting for the night, if you're down in New York or in some sort of very busy street area, they just have this metal gate that comes down to block anybody from like breaking a window or something like that to get in,
Right.
right? So it's
Mhm.
like a first. So we walk up to the LAPD station, and this gate is already almost fully closed. Like,
Wow.
and we're like, what? And I was thinking, I have never seen this gate down. The only time I saw this down is when the police were getting like attacked during like riots and stuff like that. So this is like very rare, right? So my head just went, no way. Especially after how I saw everything go down at the restaurant. These people going into the restaurant, being told about Danny being a rapist and convicted and all of that, and that the owner of this still does, and all of Danny's best friends all go to this restaurant, and this was their little, hut. I don't even know what to call it, like pit stop hut,
Yeah.
little get together. And many things went that anyway. So there were people going in to this restaurant, as they say, Motley Crue, whatever you want to call him. His name's Jordan, so we should just start with that. Coming out already, and as you could see, sorry, I'm gonna let you go, Jacob, because you're really good at this, but
Good.
I just want to get it very clear and straight how completely separate these instances were. So Danny sprays the pepper spray 2 hours before at this chick that came full on at him leaving the restaurant, right? And then did it again, and she did it again later. So that was it. And then Danny called the police and said, yes, this person attacked me, the phone hit his face. And so his last thing was, I'm pepper spraying. 2 hours later, they came for Danny, then Cam, then eventually DOA. Okay, back to this guy. This guy, Cam, had already told Jordan about Danny Masters and about all this before he went in. So then he comes back out after he's done eating or whatever, right? And he's like, okay, so being totally egotistical and cocky and whatever Reese wants to say about the swinging things. And basically was coming with it and being very and some of his actual like I don't even know what it was, cigarette, or if he kept smoking like the whole time, like even after he took his shirt off, lit up another one. It was just like, okay. And this is before finding out that he had anyways, I'm not even going to bring that up because at this time we didn't know any of that. So what I'm just
Yeah.
being clear about is that this person had already, so this thing happened with Danny. Then this person comes out of the restaurant after Cam already told him about everything. Cam comes up again as he's being like, kind of like, right. And so why am I at fault for eating at this restaurant or whatever the hell he was saying. Right. And then, who I think he was talking to Aja or something at that time. Then LA Cam comes up from the corner from where he was already, like coming, and he's like, "Oh, I've already told this guy," and he's like, "No, Motley Crue, I already told you," and you went in and support. As he was saying that, he immediately turned to. You could see it on Cam's thing. You see, he turns and he just goes boom, like almost like I wasn't talking to you. So no. That right there from a man who has already had a previous history of thinking it's okay to go rushing down streets with a car and kill somebody, whatever that may be, whatever. I'm just saying it, just putting it all together. I'm like, this is literally somebody who has an issue with his like anger issue management stuff. And maybe he was in there drinking. That probably doesn't help, anyway. So that he came out, this whole thing happens. All this stuff happens. Okay. Come to Jacob. So they all get arrested. And the first thing we do is going, okay, we're going to the LAPD station. That was the first thing. Then we see the gate back to ground zero. Okay, Jacob, go ahead. I will mute myself.
No worries. You're all good. Thanks for all that context. But yeah, so the gate is down. We were there for a few hours. And over the course of the time that we were there, we were continuing to stream and continuing to chat. And Streets LA, William Good, he was giving us lots of good context about his past experiences with the LAPD and just general knowledge about LAPD corruption. And over the course of those few hours, there were a handful of other people who came up to the police station to make their own police reports, and they would be confused, like, what's going on? Is it closed? I thought it was supposed to be open 24/7. And somebody else who was not with us was able to get their attention and yelled and tried to get an officer's attention. And the officers did end up opening the door and allowing them in, but they still wouldn't talk to any of us. And I even tried, as they were finishing up their talk, like whispering to each other through the gate while we were all kind of keeping a little bit of a distance back. Once the officers were done talking to them, I was yelling after them, "Can we get some information about our friends? Can we get info about bailing out our friends?" And they just ignored us and walked back in. So that was essentially the last that I heard that night. I left around 2:30, and there were still a handful of people there. And I know that Leah, in particular, she's Danny's fiance. She stayed out. She stayed out all night. I think that was until like 7 a.m. when I can't remember exactly what time Danny was released. But yeah, she was a trooper. She was there all night. So of course, then the next day, this is Saturday now, Danny and Cam were released. And I came back up to LA on Saturday, and we went to go to the Wilcox station again. So I was there, Lara was there, a handful of us were there, and that day we walked in and we asked at the front desk for information about his van, about DOA's van, because Lara and I were trying to see if we could get consent. And I think that you actually shared a little bit of a clip about this in your recap from this morning, which thank you. I appreciate you doing that. But so on Saturday, Lara and I walked into the Wilcox station, and we asked the woman at the front desk if we could get his consent, get Scotty's consent to be allowed to go move his van from the lot where it was being held. And she said, "Let me go see what I can do." She walked back behind where we couldn't see. And then she came back and said, "Actually, it's being considered evidence in his case. So we can't give it to you. And there's a police warrant to search it." And I said, "Can we get a copy of the police warrant?" And she said, "No."
Wait, how long does it take to get a police warrant? I guess you can get one fairly quickly. I'm assuming. I don't know if somebody knows. Tell us in the chat or in the comments, because that was fast.
Yeah, I would love to know the answer to that too. Go ahead.
Wait, also we don't know if they got an actual warrant approved or not. Like they could have just towed his van and kept it in the lot this whole time and never did anything because they're just trying to keep him in. They're really not looking for anything.
Yeah, they could have lied about it.
So we won't know. I was telling Scott this morning. Sorry. I was telling Scott this morning. We won't know until he's out or he sees the judge and they say whatever they're thinking or doing. Like, yeah.
And what you were saying about we don't know if that's actually real, that there was a search warrant. I think it's not out of the question because that's something that I've gotten conflicting information about depending on who I've asked, because that was my impression on Saturday was, okay, we can't get it because it's being held for use as evidence. But then when I went to go visit him in jail yesterday, I asked the officers in the jail if I could get info about that. And they gave me the number to call for the lot that it would be held at. And so I called that number that they gave me and asked for the information that I can get. And they said, it's ready to be picked up. And I was like, wait, what? So he's still in jail. Does that mean that does that mean that I can still try to get his consent to be allowed to move it? And they said, yeah, you can try. So they weren't saying anything to me about the search warrant at that point, which was confusing to me because I felt like that was contradicting what I'd heard. And they said, that it was going to cost $497 at that point, and there'd be an additional $55 per day. So I was hoping that he was going to be released today, because another thing I received conflicting information about was what his court date was. Originally, when Lara and I called on Saturday, that same day that we went to the Wilcox station and heard about the search warrant, we called and I was told that the court hearing would be on Wednesday, the 21st, which is tomorrow, from between 8:30 and 5 p.m. Then I called again yesterday, that same number, and they told me, no, it's actually going to be Tuesday. Or they didn't say Tuesday. They said tomorrow, but they said that yesterday. So I don't know if it was genuinely moved if the date was genuinely moved a couple of times, or if the person that I talked to yesterday made a mistake. I don't know why that happened, but those two things, the court date and the situation with the van, whether or not it's retrievable, have been a couple of things that I have received conflicting information about. Oh, and when I tried to go back to the jail and get his consent to be allowed to move his van, they told me at the jail that they don't do that at that jail because it's typically a temporary holding facility where people are not there for longer than 2 days. And the officer that I talked to said, yeah, I've been working here for 13 years and we don't do that here. If he's moved to a more permanent location, then you could try there, but we don't do that here.
I would also say that they purposely did this where it was a 3-day holiday weekend. So
Yeah.
let's not forget that. And they could have said, oh, yeah, we took his van because maybe possibly he had tear gas in it, and they could just use that as an excuse. Let's just say the other side. Maybe they don't want Scientology as a cult van sitting outside when they know they're going to be arresting him for 4 days. If they already have that plan, then of course they're going to tow their van. So do you see what I mean? There's too many things. Maybe they haven't even touched his van this whole time, and they're just like, haha, pay for the tow fees, and up the judge threw it out.
And remember, too, he was going to go to Austin for the opening.
100%. David Miscavige, the leader, is going to Austin. That's a huge point. So many people have been bringing that up to me. You're absolutely probably right. But we can never say we're absolutely right because we don't know. We literally just have to hear the words and the paperwork of what's going to happen tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But not to cut it off. I'm just saying, in terms of people worrying and things like this, just other than the facts we have here, we do have every single time Jacob and myself and Will Streets and Jessica have always said, do you have your body cam on? Good. Is there recording? Good. I have my stream. Oh, do you have one? Good. I might need that later. Give me your card. We're always asking for security. You know, they're always asked for their number. There's no reason to not just get their card from them. That right there is evidence that you saw this person. This officer was here. You had a conversation with them. Anyways, getting carried away. I just wanted to ease people's things on don't occupy your beautiful mind and your help and stuff like that with worrying about the situation.
Yeah.
Totally. And what you were saying, Lara, about the it's good to check in and make sure, are you documenting? Are you streaming? Are you filming? I think I have started to think that's more important even just in the last few months, because I started protesting Scientology initially in September when Eat Predators organized the protest in front of the Big Blue building. And that's actually where Lara and I first met, which was awesome.
Yes.
And at
Jacob,
the first couple of...
Could I just ask you, Jacob, because I
Yeah,
don't know this. Is that the point where you became involved in protesting Scientology? Because am I correct in that you've never been in Scientology?
That's correct. Yeah, I'm not an ex-Scientologist. I really started paying attention to all of the abuses of Scientology around fall of 2020 when Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath was put on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I watched every episode of the show, and then from there went on to read a handful of books by ex-members and journalists who had written about it. But it wasn't until just fall of this last year that I went to Danny Masterson's sentencing, and then when Alexa Nicholas of Eat Predators organized that protest, that was my first time like attending a formal protest against Scientology.
Got it.
But for those first couple times that I protested Scientology at Big Blue in September and then at Celebrity Center in October, I wasn't live streaming myself. I was there, I was holding a sign and I was chatting with the other streamers. But my first my mindset kind of at those first few times that I protested was, oh, there's already so many people streaming. Like, I don't need to be just another angle. Like, I can just be there to support and just hold a sign. But really, what kind of changed my mind about that was when Aaron came and got detained or arrested, whatever term we want to use. I know the LAPD doesn't call it an arrest. But then I started to realize how actually having multiple camera angles can be really important, because from one person's camera angle, you might see a fist punch, but not see where it hits. On another person's stream, you might be able to actually more clearly see that the fist made contact with his head. And so in that sense, I started to feel like then, honestly, maybe it's not a bad idea to be another one of the streamers out there. And so I really just started streaming over the last month or so. But it's been really awesome to get to know the other folks who are out there and be supporting each other. And because a lot of the people who are out there, or a handful of them, I should say, who are not ex-Scientologists, kind of just started paying attention to this stuff over the last few months.
Jacob,
Yeah.
none of the people outside La Poubelle are ex-Scientologists other than me and Serge Del Mar.
Right.
Literally, guys, literally. So, and somebody just said in the chat, it's because DOA is actually very knowledgeable about the police corruption and the laws. So they were like, this guy has been hanging around. Okay, I can't say anything. They were like this. This is always Lara in her mind. But what I am saying is that when you start to peel back this onion of Scientology's corruption, look at Natalie, she's been on streams all day long. When you start to peel, we're like fired up. We're like, wake up. When you start to peel back these little, like, this is so powerfully what do you call that? Like, knowledgeable for me. It's telling. It's so telling. Like, look, when things happen and you're there physically and I was there being like, hey, no, like, what is happening? Why are they getting arrested? What? And then, guys, am I not mistaken, Natalie? Do you know more, Jacob? The guy, Jordan, never even got arrested. They were put in together with his girlfriend. What is this?
No, and he was referred to as the victim. He was the victim who was interviewed.
I saw him get in the back of the police car, but he was not handcuffed. So it didn't look like an arrest. It looked like maybe he was being escorted away.
Yeah.
So again, we can feed into it. I'm just saying the actions that happened were all completely unneeded, unnecessary. Danny already called the cops. The streets said, you guys have been lining up formation on the side of Gelson's.
Yeah, he caught them.
He went and filmed and caught them. He was like, there's 5 cars. What are 5 police cars doing that for? They're getting ready to already pre-plan what they're doing. Yeah. Why do they tape off the whole area all the way to DOA's van?
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Yeah.
Like, DOA's van had nothing to do with anything that occurred during this protest. Nothing.
Yeah, they just knew what they were doing. So Jacob, when you were in the jail and you were speaking with Scotty, DOA, Defender of Ants, you found out a few things too. And we've talked about it a little bit, but in case the people in the back didn't hear, you want to go ahead and share that?
Well, honestly, Scotty's main concern when I was asking, is there anything that you want me to let others know about or get any info that you want me to get out there? His main concern was actually about another guy who was arrested before Cam and Danny. That's Josiah. And I guess that Scotty and Josiah were temporarily in the same cell when they were both at the same location before DOA was moved from the Hollywood station to the Metropolitan, LAPD Metropolitan Detention Center, I think it's called. But he was telling me what Josiah told him, and I was trying to do my best to distinguish yesterday between what I was able to verify and what I had just heard kind of through a few different sources.
Yeah.
But what DOA told me that Josiah told him is that Josiah was arrested for making criminal threats against Patrick Perry, who is the guy who assaulted DOA, or excuse me, that assaulted Aaron. I hope I said all that right.
One threatened to kill him.
Yes. And I tried to verify that once I got out. Oh, my light went out. Oh, well. I tried to verify that. Turn up the brightness on my computer screen. I tried to verify that afterward by calling a few different numbers. And again, I tend to get the runaround every time I try to contact LAPD, where I'll call one number and they say, oh, call this number. And then, dial this extension, call this number. Anyway, I was able to confirm that he was arrested. Josiah was arrested for making criminal threats. I was not able to verify that they were indeed against Patrick Perry, but that's what Josiah told DOA. DOA also told me that Josiah told him that a cop told Josiah, this is what happens when you protest Scientology.
That sounds
I didn't hear that, but that's what DOA wanted me. That's what DOA wanted me to share. But I did think it was just selfless and admirable to see that DOA's main concern was with someone else. He's a tough cookie. I think his attitude was kind of like, I'll be fine, dude. I've been in jail before. People don't need to lose sleep over me. As much as I know that he appreciates all of the community wanting to step up for him, but that was the biggest thing that he wanted to share.
Yeah.
Laura, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say he also he's not he knows that nothing he did was illegal. He also knows exactly go to the end of DOA's stream. That's what I was going to say. When all this happened, right? Then he's like, okay, I'm going to walk down. It was almost 30, 40 minutes, like I said, later. This is way after Danny and the girl that came out and attacked his phone and attacked it again. I mean, eventually it's like, when does a phone hit come? And when is that? I just feel anytime, am I wrong, Natalie? If somebody was irritating the shit out of you, okay, and they're filming and they're in here, are you going to whack the phone out of their hand when you know you're not supposed? If you do that, that actually will be worse for you.
Oh, I wouldn't do it just because it would be rude. And just because someone else is being rude
but what
doesn't mean I need to be rude.
No, but I know, but Natalie, I'm saying, okay,
walk
put yourself in your worst non-Zen space, right? Maybe you're just going like, wow, this person is really getting me to want to whack this phone. If it got to that.
Sure.
Wouldn't you be like, dude, you're just trying to make me hit you or something. You're trying to make me whack you, and it's not going to happen because I'm getting so steamed up that you're such an, right?
Oh,
this
totally.
Jordan turned and whacked Cam's phone. Like, shut up, idiot. I know you. We already talked. I wasn't talking to you. What kind of person has that sort of? Anyways, wow. I can go on forever about.
And he flicked a lit cigarette at him too.
But he kept doing it. No, it wasn't just one. He had enough time to eventually. I don't even remember. Like, seriously, guys, I don't even know what pepper spray or whatever went on there, because everybody goes, what the heck was that? But the thing is the guy got more like, oh yeah. And he pulled off his shirt. It continued. It wasn't like a mature, intelligent, like, you guys are bullying me, or, hey, I went in to eat and you guys are fucking, it was already coming out with the cigarette. Let's talk. So why am I not allowed to eat here? He was already in this gross state. So I'm not even trying to put the attention on him. What I'm trying to put it on is the fact that DOA had nothing to do with any of these incidents, period, other than the fact after the guy, boom, and then shoved the dude up against the car, then DOA went in and just, I think his instinct was to just go, like, take him down.
Yeah,
that's
just
it. You don't do
him.
that. Yeah,
stop him.
Big
from
bear hug.
attacking
He was
Cam.
literally like, stop. You can't do that. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to get worked up because I naturally do.
And he came to your rescue. He helped you out.
Yeah, multiple times. He's literally, I tell people he's the defender of anybody. If you're doing something right or you're being attacked by somebody who is harmful or being evil or or physically attacking you, he'll be right there in a second because he knows the law. He's like, that's not okay. Police officers, this is what I'm going to say. Police officers don't like that around here, especially if they're corrupt.
Yeah.
I even saw it in Denver Jay's video before, you talked about it. Before the cops came and everything, there was one police officer that immediately said, before they're doing their little tactics, the first police officer that walked up to Mexican long-haired, is that his channel?
Mexican long hair,
Mexican long hair. He's really good with he knows the laws and everything too. So he was like, no, actually, let me actually diffuse. He was diffusing the situation in Denver when there was nothing happening out there. Go watch that. You talked about it. But my point is, you have to know the laws. And they're going to start attacking the people that know the laws and that are here to actually expose exactly what needs to be exposed. Whether that's in a quirky way, wearing pineapple glasses and a big fur jacket, it's not about what you think about us. It's about the message you're hearing because I'm distracting you with my pineapple glasses and making you look at me. Good. Did you know this is a human trafficking cult that is manipulating elderly and children and reorganizing and changing people's religious structure and breaking apart families? And they're going to rip apart people like DOA who give a fucking shit to physically defend people when they're attacking people. Or thinking it's okay to stir shit up and then let LAPD say, oh, they stirred shit up.
Exactly. It was them.
We've been doing this for 2 months every single day now. Okay.
He also, you'll notice, I was thinking about this, that prior to DOA being arrested, one of the things that he started doing is he started doing interviews with smaller channels to elevate those channels and to share with his audience other people and to really build that community. And it really does seem too that some of the people who get singled out in that way, I don't doubt too that pisses off Scientology, because you got this guy who's got all this crazy stuff going on, but at the same time, he's this gentle giant and he's trying to help other people and raise awareness that way with a lot of passion. It makes him even more of a target.
100%.
That's right. He even said on I was sorry about that. I was just going to say that Lara and Scotty and I actually went out to dinner on Thursday night, and he was talking about that, how he was doing interviews in the hammocks and he was wanting to interview me. And little did we know what the next night had in store for us all. So I definitely look forward to having combos with him.
Yeah,
go ahead.
He's done a few little, like I think 1 or 2 in the hammock, and they're great. And it's so fun to watch that sunset come down with the blue. He did a great interview with David B or something, or David
Mismanage.
David Mismanage instead of David Miscavige. It's David Mismanage. Anyways, and so he wants to do that, and he's saying no. He keeps telling us no. The way that you guys communicate it's coming from a place that nobody can explain. Even the news reporters, of course, the news reporters are going to get it wrong because they need to get it wrong because they can't fight against the church. If you're a news reporter and you're trying, decline. An ex just called me right now. Like, not now, Sparky. Anyways, wow. What was I saying? Oh, so the news report, all these people are getting it wrong. Look at NBC. They couldn't even put out a full report of what happened. They didn't. Anyway, they chumped it down where certain people are only get certain clips and they're only going to hear certain things.
Yep.
Well, and about that news report, one thing that you had pointed out this morning, Natalie, was you were looking at the press release that the LAPD put out where they acknowledged that 3 people were arrested, whereas in the news report, they say that only 1 was arrested, or they say that the LAPD says that only 1 person was arrested for battery, but the protesters claim that 3 were arrested. Meanwhile, the charges were for conspiracy and possession and unlawful use of tear gas. Like,
that's what I was
there was so much misleading language there.
I asked the bailiff this morning that will be there tomorrow morning. In fact, not to tell the whole world, but I will be there. I was like, boss, please let me. I just want to be there for the court in the morning. I will be there at work whenever I'm done. I just want to be there. So I am going to be there. But I was telling him, like, I went right to I said this early in my channel. I was like, here's the whole setup. I've seen the courtroom. This is how it's going to be tomorrow. I'm letting you know. This is a Scientology tactic. And so and the sheriff the bailiff is sheriff. I'm pretty sure they're in the sheriff department, not LAPD. So I was like, LAPD is being corrupt, and don't tell me you guys have never thought LAPD has corruption. Scientology. And I was like, I just went off in the courtroom for 10 minutes before I went back out in the hall and saw Chris and Jessica and a bunch of people that were waiting to see. I'm like, no, wrong day, it's tomorrow. Anyways, what I'm getting to is even the bailiff said they just put the report in this morning as a felony. They just put it in this morning as a felony for the judge to look at. So it has to be scheduled for tomorrow for the judge to look at. So this is what I just said. So this is acceptable to have somebody in first the Wilcox, I was like the police station holding cell for whatever that is for 3 days. And then I just went off. I said, the people that were also charged in this crime are gone and they're off. And so this fake felony is being seen by a judge for a reason that is fake. Yeah. Like, I was like, and I said, when does this corruption stop? Right now for this person's case, when does this stop? And he was like, I hope tomorrow. I was just like, oh my God. Okay, great. Well, I'll be back. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm working. And then I'm like, oh, look at that. Maybe I'm not.
Jacob, will you be able to be there tomorrow as well?
I will be there tomorrow. And one thing that I'm not totally certain of is exactly what time we can expect it to start, because originally when Lara and I called on Saturday night to ask about it, they told us Wednesday between 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m., which is obviously a very wide time frame. That's all the hours that court is open. Most recently, when I called this morning, they did say 8:30 a.m. But my experience, because I've also been paying attention to some of the civil cases that are civil lawsuits against Scientology recently, and my experience with the way that times for start times for hearings will go is, for the civil cases, I'll tend to see posted outside of the courtroom a calendar with all of the different cases that are scheduled for that day. And in civil court, at least, I'll typically see several different cases all scheduled for the same time. And the clerk will start taking roll of the attorneys who are there. And then the judge will come out of their chambers and start going through the cases that are on the list for the 8:30 calendar. And so, like, when I went to a Leah Remini v. Scientology case, I want to say that she was like 9 or 10 on the list. So even though it was scheduled for an 8:30 start time, I don't think that we actually started here in her case until later.
Jacob, I have to pause you. And I will tell you the exact opposite. I'm going to literally cut you off and say that bailiff came out at 8:31 and had a list of and there was maybe 9 or 10 people waiting there, and they saw me walking. I was like, oh, we're all waiting for this room to open. Okay. And there was only 10 people, and there was a list. Okay. Just 5 people. Okay. And it was like, oh yeah, yours got dismissed already. They said that to somebody, and So I will be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow. I don't give a crap, because those doors will open and they're ready. Those judges are busy. They're busy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to be there at 8. And anybody who wants to be there and join, everybody should be there. Even if you're waiting outside the hall or whatever it is, whatever you want to do, be there. I think, sorry, not to take over the channel.
Where's it? Can you share where it's at? Jacob, you know the address, right, of where it's at?
Yeah, it is the Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center, which I think I do have written down here. Let me double check.
I have it.
It's 210 West Temple, and it's Department 30. Lara, do you know which floor Department 30 is on?
Yeah, it's the 5th floor. So it's very simple. Don't bring any vape pens or any cigarette lighters. Don't bring any drugs. Just kidding. Don't bring your cutie pie marijuana joints. I'm just saying, don't just go in there expecting just like your phone and wallet, and just go in, because they do kind of like the airport check kind of thing where you go through and it beep, beep, and then you go up, and you're not allowed to use your phones or anything in the hallway, or you can be on them, but you can't be filming or anything in the hallways or recording inside the courtroom at all. So that's fine. There's no other than that. Just show up, be there. But definitely be there at 8:30. Be up on that floor by 8:30. It's the 5th floor, Department 30 room. It's room 30.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be there. I hope that we're able to get started close to 8:30.
Hey, Jacob.
Yay. I'm gonna grab some questions and comments here. Surrounded by Scientology, of course, I will stay to hear Jacob and Lara FM. Of
Thank
course.
you.
Is that George surrounded
It's
by
George,
Scientology,
yeah,
right? Because
that's
there's so
Heck
many.
yeah.
I love George. I really love George. He has such like, it's almost like he's living his life to just bring joy. I mean, I'm sure we all are now that we're like free, but I cannot wait to give George and all those little Clearwater, Tampa Bay, everybody people hugs.
I agree totally. C and woke, Lara, I love your music. You're an awesome rock star.
Thank
She
you,
sure
babe.
is.
Hannah Banana, thank you so much. Feels like such a setup. Felony conspiracy makes no sense. They were attacked and barely defended themselves. Bogus.
Especially,
Mhm.
okay, not to utter our point even more, especially literally not even 3 weeks ago or whatever, Confident Chris got freaking annihilated.
Yeah.
Like, sure, he plays it off well and he's sweet, but he got his tooth busted out. He got a freaking cut
Concussion,
on his
right?
neck that he had to get. He had a he's like, no, it's not okay whatsoever. So do not. I want to also say one thing for those people out there, and for all of you streamers, everybody, all you streamers, like even Jessica Streets. I'm telling you, when you are being confronted, Bubs is going to help me out here, my little kitty in the back, distracting everybody. When you get confronted which by somebody who you think may or may not be a Scientologist or on their side or whatever, they don't have to be a Scientologist. So they're going to say, I'm not a Scientologist. Somebody who is vouching and voting behind closed doors for Scientology, in my mind, in my book, and in reality, is a Scientologist. So they don't even have to have done courses. So anybody who isn't saying anything negative about Scientology or willing to listen to something negative about Scientology long enough before cutting you off is a big red flag. So just that is something like I was getting so annoyed watching all these streamers continue to talk to Tony. This guy from day one, when I first met Jacob on the first protest I did, was the guy who whacked my phone out of my hand when I was the only loud one that said no.
And
We
then
will
claimed that
not
you hit
listen
him.
to you. No, he's saying, and she swung her phone at me, and he said, and I did a Jedi move. And then you play it back, and what I did do is said, I don't care what you think. That's what I was telling him. I don't care what you think. And that at that moment, what I said I was being very clear. You could see him go, boom, listen to me. You need to listen. That's the next thing he said to me after whacking my phone out. Not, oh my God, you tried to hit me, which he tried to say not even 10 minutes before that or whatever, 5 minutes before that conversation while we were like, and then when he came back, what business? Who? I was like, none of your business. Because he just was so anyways. Not a cool dude. I don't care what that dude, if he didn't care, I'm going to go on a tangent, but if he didn't care about being transparent and just saying what the heck, or if he cared about everything that was actually going on, there's nobody that would react that way.
Yeah.
And then continue it and say, I'm so sorry. I realize, that was out of line. There's nobody. He has this narcissistic ego that is a very Scientology based fed. Oh, you've acknowledged me. I've been like privileged to work for you. So I'm going to uphold this PR. And it's the same thing that Scientology dangles over the LAPD and everything. Look, we've been always giving us money. So get these people out of our way. They're in our way. They're stopping us. Okay.
Yep. Completely.
Mm-hmm.
Denise, thank you. Lara is my favorite human being. Oh, I love that.
That is a little too much.
Amy Edge, I think it's time to remind the LAPD the whole world's watching because we are. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Vintage Mama of 3. Lara, will you be teaching Jacob parking at court? What's that about?
So Lara has been live streaming a couple of times while I've been driving her from location to location, whether it's from La Poubelle to the police station or wherever. But there's been at least one time that I had a little bit of trouble parallel parking, and I have the reverse cam on my car. So Lara put her phone up to the screen so that her viewers could see the job that I was doing while she's directing. Nope. Now turn the wheel. Okay. Do you want me to just do it for you? So then I took her phone and was outside while she's parking the car. And now that's a little bit of an inside joke that some will make
And
when,
then when I did,
we're
I was
streaming together.
I was like,
Oh yeah, she did it perfectly right away. I was
but
impressed.
you know, the thing is Jacob actually listened to me. Like, he listened to my criticizing, trying to be patient ass.
Yeah, Jacob,
I know
you are
it's
very,
all
you're
it's all
very,
in love.
He
you are
puts up
very
with me. It's so beautiful because I'm actually,
beautiful.
even if I say blunt, rude things, I don't mean to. It's just how I feel, and it's like I'm not insensitive, as people would say. Not
No, it's all
insensitive.
love. I know.
Actually, one person, a sweetheart, texted me. So if you're watching now, I'm calling you out. She called me unaware that I'm unaware of being insensitive about this one thing that happened, and I'm like, if there's all these things going on and people keep there's going to be a certain point where I'm like, sound guy is going to kill me if I don't get on the stage, or he'll cancel my show. Like, and there's so many, and I'm like, the sound's already not working. There was so much going. Anyways, back to reality is that when I get feisty, I guess, with Jacob, he plays it off so sweetly and intelligently that, like, it makes me go, oh my God, how great was that? And like, there's no, oh, good, I got to get that out. And then I'm like, you know what, Jacob, you're very sweet. You know, it just brings out, it makes me want to be nicer. That's the whole point, is
See,
like,
you're rubbing
anyway.
off on her, Jacob. That's the beautiful
Yeah.
thing about these different relationships and these friendships that are blooming in
So
all
maybe
these
my
ways.
parking skills will rub off on you too, Jacob.
I hope so.
Maybe. So tomorrow you will both be there. So we
Yeah.
could probably so that's 8:30 your time. So that's 10:30 my time. So I would have already done my recap in the morning by then.
Which
But I
we'll
would,
be watching. I watched your recap this morning.
oh, lovely, lovely,
Yeah, good stuff.
I watched,
lovely.
like, it's not a joke, Natalie. Everybody really, your voice is, hi. Okay, we're getting, and da da da. And it's just like, oh, good, there's Natalie. Like, not even DOA is a huge fan of yours. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna listen to Natalie and clean my van.
Well, it
Like,
also
good,
is really
hey,
helpful to have those
Natalie in the
recaps in the
morning.
morning because
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's so
so
much to keep track of between all of the different cities where auditing is happening and all of the different
yep.
Scientology news. But to get that quick, like an hour or less, just recap of all the key things from each city is really helpful for keeping
It's
track
so
of
helpful.
everything going
It's
on.
so, and you do it very quick, and you're very like, okay, and here's the clip of this, and people are like, wait, she didn't show this part, and you're like, well, go back and watch the clip
Yeah,
on
go
their
watch the whole
channel.
thing if you want to. We're gonna
Totally.
keep the show moving. I appreciate that.
You're
One
so
love.
good at it. You're
I
so good
love
at
doing it, and I keep saying I'll keep showing up as long as everybody else keeps showing up.
it. We're here. Yeah.
One love, my dear Lara, please stay safe and continue to speak the truth. We are all here behind you. Proud mama here. Ah, that's so sweet. That is so
One
sweet.
love. One love has been there forever. So sweet.
I love that. So
Since one of
tomorrow,
my day ones, I was scared. Hi guys, am I live? Am I live? Oh my God, is this mic working? Okay, I'm gonna text somebody because I don't know if I'm doing this. Is it live? It is live.
is it on?
Is it on? Natalie, but Natalie, you've done it so sweetly. I don't know how, I guess you really did your planning, and like I bet you had boards like, what am I gonna talk about? And what is because like you've come on and you just nailed it. So I don't
Well, I do. I do have my clips figured out ahead of time because you just have to have them on there, and
I didn't know that.
I'm very fortunate that a lot of people are sending me information and clips and timestamps, which really helps to put it together. And the more people that I hear from, because I really want to share what people are talking about. So whether I'm jumping into other chats all the time to just see what people are talking about, my Tony does that as well. And then what I'm sent at, and I have a new email now. It's Natalie@lifeafteraccult.com, where you can send me these things and we can go ahead and recap it. And it's also important to me because letting people know, hey, this is growing, and giving attention in life to as many different outlets and channels as we can to help elevate that message. Everybody has a different audience.
Exactly. I have heard from other people that you check in on them after you do their live streams, and you and Tony, you both are like, hey guys, and you do, I'm like, oh, they do that with me.
I just want to make sure that everybody's okay. That's the mom in me. And I know sometimes.
But you say you say, no. people are like, oh, Natalie, da 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 da. Like, that's how it feels. Oh my God, Tony checked on me. That's so sweet. They're so nice. This is so good. I need this. And you, of all people, we can receive it from. I feel like on all levels, Jacob can receive it. DOA can receive it. I can receive it. Aaron can receive it. Like, so many people with so many mixed emotions. People are saying Mike Rinder could possibly come onto your show and talk to you about something because he could really, we could see, like, hello, that may, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you, like, again, the morning news, Natalie Morning News, the way you talk, the way you bring up everybody's channel, the way people want to openly share things with you. Please, guys, if you are subscribed to my channel and you're not subscribed to Natalie, that is an absolute flunk. And that's probably the reason she doesn't have at least 3,000 more subscribers. So do it right now. Let's take a minute and everybody do that right now, so you can have your morning news as well.
That's right. And make sure you as well find Jacob. I had your channel pulled up. Oh, here it is. So Jacob Harkey, you can find him over here. There we go. Jacob Harkey.
Yeah, I'd love to have more of you over there. My channel's been growing over the last couple of days. I realized I had to start getting mods today. What was that, Lara?
Oh my God. I was like, Jacob, now. Mod me now. Let me cut through some of these heads. Slice your out.
Yep. Lara,
do you have this thing where you're obsessed with banning trolls and like, get out of my life? Bye.
I'm realizing that's becoming a very real thing.
Believe me. Look, that's what I was going to say, the troll thing, and same thing with protesting. And hey, if they're not hearing you and understanding the hurt and the harm and going, oh my God, really? I didn't know they did that. Then there's already a permanent intention and view. They're already getting at you in a way. So you don't need to talk to them. Bye, delete, ban, goodbye.
Bye, Felicia. Liz Ferris. God, I love her. Love you, Lara. See you soon.
I cannot wait to see everybody this weekend. I'm so excited for two things. LA, and so is Jacob. Me and Jacob might be strumming a few songs and doing some fun things.
Oh, fun.
I'm up for that.
I'm like, why'd you bring that? He's like, bring my guitar. I'm like, oh, it's actually a smart thing to do at a protest. Why are we not just walking around while we're yelling, having a beautiful guitar playing? Okay, anyways.
There totally should be. Blackmail. Thank you. As a Mexican, I'm impressed with the LAPD corruption.
And I don't know if the impressed is sarcastic or not. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it is definitely.
It's not fucking funny. It's so fucking disgusting. Okay, guys, we've left a cult and now we're dealing with the LAPD. We're like, oh my God. Oh, is the judge gonna also? It's like, I know we're all thinking, oh my God, what's the concept? What's gonna happen? And is he gonna make it to tell you? No, we need to look just like the trolls in our chats. We need to let them show their face, show their lies, show the dishonesty so that we can beep, delete, and ban them.
Yep, exactly. Time Traveler's Chest. Thank you so much. Natalie, thank you for all you do. Lara, love your shirt. I watched both interviews with Mike Brown and mad respect for your growth. Your voice was held back and you found it. Can't wait for you and Kelly collab.
Thank you. That was a hard one with Mike Brown. And I didn't know even today how big of an effect emotionally and in my emotional intelligence went up.
Yeah.
By just letting him feel like, wow, Lara's being rude to me. I needed to like see him have emotions when I was feeling angry about these things.
Yeah.
So weird.
No, it totally makes sense. It completely makes sense because, when we were in the Sea organization, those are the emotions that you're forced to not have and not experience unless you're
not allowed to talk about them and not even allowed to talk about them. It's actually out ethics. It's banky. It's case on post. It's misemotion. Yes. If you even bring up something that's slightly negative that somebody else has to now deal with, that's emotions.
Oh, totally. I still think, on occasion I'll break down and cry during a live stream. And I'll refer to it as, I just had a total breakdown. And my Tony always reminds me, he goes, that's not a breakdown. That's appropriately responding to what you were talking
Yeah.
about. And those are just feeling your emotions. So I need to remember that too, that it was so ingrained into us that these are negative emotions, yet we should be feeling these things. We shouldn't be numb to things. That's part of,
Right.
from childhood, how they indoctrinate us. And now leaving and being away from that and being able to experience these emotions, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just embrace it and be in these safer spaces to be able to do that.
We were taught in Scientology, literally training drills, which were done every fucking single day.
Yeah.
Every single day, you either were on course watching somebody do training drills, like, I remember being on course, like supposed to be doing some course or some fucking thing, and watching and laughing at somebody bull baiting somebody and be like, oh, that's funny. And I would just spend my time watching them do TRs because I was so annoyed of the book I had to read that I was forced to read for the 30th time over and over. Yeah, so I'm just saying this all started I would say the purpose of training drills are to suppress your actual emotions
Yeah.
so they don't affect you.
Yeah. So that you can keep working after you've been mistreated and
Yeah,
abused.
I was going to say that so that you can continue doing the things you're doing so that you can go, look, I moved forward from these emotions and I can still work. I guess those emotions were just nothing.
Exactly. Kirsty
Batters you
says,
down, conditions you to accept all the abuse to a certain extent,
yeah,
right?
exactly. What
Right,
would
which makes it okay for Scientologists and imagine, the outpours of child human trafficking and all this coming from Scientology, and you have little restaurants and little businesses, and Scientology own this and that, where they think it's okay to abuse people, and they think it's okay to whack phones out and to say, "Who cares if you see rape? A lot of people get raped." Like, they say things that are just like, "Why would you say that? Tony, why would you say it is a she? Who the F thinks like that without a heart?"
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
that's all.
Exactly. Kirsty says, love you. I've got your back from, I think that's Australia, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. Daisy, thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Keep up the great work. You're all making a difference. Really appreciate that. All right, we're going to wrap it up tomorrow, but I would love to hear from both of you. We'll have to check in. Let me know what happens. I will have already been done with my recap for the day and I'll be off working, but I would love to hear if you have a chance. I would
Maybe
love.
Jacob, maybe me and you can do a recap together after.
That's a great idea. You guys should totally do that. You guys should
So
jump
there
Yeah.
in.
could be 2 views of whatever, unless it's very simple and he just leaves and he walks out of the courtroom with us in his scrubs. I don't
Even
know.
better. Even better. You definitely got to go straight live and do that, man. I think
As
it
We'll
soon
would be
as
play it
we
by
can go
ear.
live tomorrow, that's what we should say. As soon as we can go live tomorrow after, we will do that.
yes.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
here for it.
fantastic. I will
cool.
keep an eye out for that, and I'm so glad that you're both gonna be there, and I hope that more people join you tomorrow as well to go show their support for Scotty for DOA, and
Yes.
I appreciate both of you coming and doing this. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
Everybody,
Natalie.
head over to their
Yeah, thank you for
channel.
having us.
Yes, you know where they're at LARA FM and Jacob Harkey. Jacob, is your channel at Jacob Harkey? What's your
I
at?
think that is technically my username. Yeah, it's at Jacob Harkey, and then yeah, my name just Jacob Harkey. Yeah, nice
Yep,
and
that's how
simple,
I
just my
found you,
name.
was just putting that in there. So
Nice.
appreciate it. I will be back in the morning with my recap, 7:30 Central Time. You two hang out for just a sec. Everybody else, thank you so much for all your support and being here. And most of all, get out there and have the most amazing cult-free day.